And hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Helix. I'm your host, Coach Helix, and with me, my amazing co host.
A very, very joyful Stephen Frederick Masick is here.
A very joyful Stephen the Medium, Stephen F. Frederick Masick, and Attorney Masick. It's in the house.
Yes.
Stephen, we just got past the 4th of July holiday, and I know that you are thrilled because in your mind, you are just weeks ahead, getting weeks closer to Halloween. And I'm not kidding you, people. He is counting the days. We even went to a store yesterday, and you actually asked, is the Halloween stuff out? And the woman said, actually, yeah, we just got stuff today. And you bought Halloween decorations because we need more decorations in our house. We only have 10 bins filled with stuff, but we need more decorations. So what do you have to say for yourself?
Listen, first and foremost, I don't need any haters. Oh, it's July. Let it.
You're gonna get lots of those.
Yeah. Well, listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. It's just who I am, right? So, and it was just a little section. They had just got it out. A shout out to Angie that helped us out, the manager. And when I saw this beautiful broom with little little signs on the broom. The broom's I don't know, about 4 feet, 5 feet, no, about 4 feet tall, with little signs like Cauldron Drive here, which is, I don't know, street. It's really cute. So I definitely needed to get that. We went there to get pillows for the new cushions for outside of our deck. But listen, you can't put me in Home Goods and not think I'm going to sort of veer off a little bit. Right?
I love how you say, I need it to get that broom. No, you didn't need to get anything.
I did.
You just wanted to because it's just the thing. But listen, I'm not going to complain because he could go from, oh my God, it's too hot, to, oh my God, I can't wait for winter in the first snowstorm. Just like that. So we're going from 4th of July to Halloween, and then eventually to Christmas. So
hey, let me just say this, Felix. I am also not one to complain. I don't complain about it. I don't complain it's too hot. I don't complain it's too cold. The complaining gets you nowhere. But you will see my excitement. And of course, I play around a lot. Like last night, driving home from Home Goods, I said to you, oh my God, can you tell already how dark it's getting so early?
Yeah,
because I'm.
You've already saw the foliage. He saw one leaf turn yellow, and its foliage is starting in Cape Cod, mind you.
Listen, I do love all the seasons. Of course, I'm a cold guy. So when fall hits and into winter, I am in my glory. However, I love going to the beach. We went to the beach, for 4th of July weekend, and it was, it's a gorgeous beach anyway with besties, John and Christmas. But in any case, I love that. I love being on the water. I love being on the beach. So, listen, I love it all. I do get excited when, I see that first back to school commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie.
And you are waiting for it. I know you are.
I'm so waiting.
Absolutely waiting for it. But listen, I agree. Listen, I'm going to be completely transparent. I would agree with Stephen. Complaining gets you nowhere. However, I do give myself permission to complain about the traffic because Cape Cod receives, the whole world wants to come to Cape Cod, especially before the 4th of July. And Stephen, let me tell you, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, traffic here was just it was supernatural. It was just not natural at all. So I will say that's the one time, and I know you yell at me all the time because you remind me, what are you complaining about? Why are you getting so stressed? I cannot stand traffic. It just sends me to a very anxious place. So that's all. I just needed to say that. I'm
Are you
just
done?
one. Yeah, I am done. I wanted to do a shout out. That reminded me. Wanted to do a shout out to these Brandon Delaney, this special, amazing guy that came to visit us from Los Angeles, and he spent like what 3 hours in traffic, Steven, if that, if not more.
Look, let me just tell you, as you just said, it is no difference. You can't say I have a waiver. You're complaining. You live on Cape Cod. You know the traffic is like this, so it's just like someone saying, "Oh my God, I hate the heat." Well, then, like, move. I hate the cold. Then move. I mean, this is what we got. This is where we are, right? You don't complain. It's traffic is traffic. It's very short. It's a short period of time, and for the rest of the year, like at least 9 months of the year, we live in the most beautiful island ever. So there's no complaining. We just get through this and.
Okay, I'm making a note. Dave, our producer, please record this last part because I'm gonna replay it the next time it gets to 100 degrees and you're like suffering about how much you hate this heat. I'm just gonna say, hey, toughen up, Buttercup. That's what I'm gonna say. What do you have to say about that?
I love the heat
Yeah.
and the humidity. I love it. It just makes me feel so good. So,
and
but
so
can we
I-
switch this? Switch this whole thing, complaining stuff, because we got a lot, going on, which is all good.
Well, just start. I have a story I want to tell, but go ahead.
Don't tell. I want to hear the story.
No, it's about you. It's a story that everyone should hear
Oh, Lord.
because it's a funny
A
story.
Stephen story.
It's a Steven story. So we've been waiting for two things that to be delivered. One of them is a AC unit for Steven's office, and then cushions for our outdoor patio that we order. And it took forever.
1979.
We took like weeks. So finally, I get the notification that the cushions are coming. We get the notification that the AC is coming. So we're both expecting these two things coming. And a couple of days ago, this massive truck pulls, in our driveway, and Steven comes out, welcomes the young kid. They put down, the box, gigantic. And Steven is like, oh my God, I got my AC. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know we got a notification that it's coming, so I'm sure that's your AC. He gets a receipt, and we leave it in the garage because we're waiting for somebody else to come and install it, all of that. A couple of days later, we get a notification, your AC unit has been delayed. And we're both looking at each other. What? We got delivered. And I look at Steven and I said, Steven, did you look at the receipt that you got? And he just looks at me like, no, I just took it and I thought it was the AC. Oh no, the receipt, huge letters, cushions. But he never looked at it. Not once, and here we are assuming that's the AC. No, it was the cushions, and we should have known it was the cushion because the box was massive, for all of these cushions.
Look, there was a cushion outside of the box.
Correct.
Taped.
Correct.
Yeah, I thought it was a filter or something.
Honestly,
what do I know?
people, let me tell you
seriously,
something.
what do I know?
I just say, thank God you do have smarts, going for you, because when it comes to common sense, oh my God, that part of the
Wait a minute. I don't care for this. You always say, thank God you have looks.
No,
You don't
I
have any
said
common sense.
smarts and look. Well, no, I should clarify. You are smart,
listen,
and
I'm
you
now
have
ugly and
absolutely
dumb.
good.
Yeah, that's
No,
right.
it's funny because
just add fat and I have a trifecta: fat,
No.
ugly, and dumb.
No, you are smart and you're super good looking, but men in the common sense department, that you missed that session altogether.
Listen, I've said this many times, is that for many, many years as an attorney representing kids and also doing probate work, all I did was read. You have to, everything when you're going into court, whether it's for a hearing or trial, you have to make sure that every single thing is done properly. And juvenile court is unlike any court anywhere in the state, like probate or a district or a housing. Juvenile has their own rules, so you have to make sure everything is in order. The verbiage, all of it, is hitting the marks. That's all I did. So now, when I am not doing legal work, I'm reading nothing. I don't want to read nothing. I just don't. I don't want to read anything. I just give me the receipt. All right, it's good. The
And
receipt's
for
here.
the record, when you were practicing law, that also applied to, your everyday. You only read when you had to do with work,
Yeah.
not
Yes.
outside of work.
No.
Okay?
That is
Because
true.
we also ended up in Colorado picking up a puppy because you didn't read the fine lines. You did not read, oh, you have to come pick it up.
Yeah.
You thought the
Yeah.
puppy was going to magically be delivered to us from
Yeah,
Colorado. Just saying.
when the woman that heads up the rescue um, uh, organization, if you will, she reaches out and says, "Oh, there's 60 applications, but you two were selected. I just knew. I had a feeling you two Django needs to go with you guys." And it was a beautiful conversation. I'm like crying, because we only do rescues, and he's a full Japanese chin breed, which is very weird and rare to get in a rescue. But there's a whole story of how he got there. But in any case, and at the end of the conversation, she said, "He's not ready yet." And I'm like, "Give me a time frame." And she said, she tells me, and then says, and then you just give me a shout out, like when you've got the travel, the booking and travel plans all done. And I'm thinking I'm driving to the other side of Massachusetts. I'm like, oh, do you need to know the date? Well, yeah, because she said, "You're in Massachusetts, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, I'm assuming you're flying." I'm like, where are you?
By the way, I knew
Color.
nothing until the contract was signed and paid. And Steven is like, "Oh, we got great news." And he kept going and going and going. And then eventually, but we have to go to Colorado. I'm like,
To pick him up.
I am going to kill you, Steven, that we have to fly with a puppy, mind you.
Hey, look,
Back.
look at once we got him, and I said to you, listen. I mean, he was ours, right? Once they tell us we got him, he's ours. But I gave you the option. Say, listen, we don't have to go to Colorado. They'll just go to the next person, knowing damn well you were going to say, of course we got to go get him. So we did.
Yeah,
And
that
he was
that
a good
was an
boy.
option, not an option. Just saying.
Yeah, and he's 12
Option,
years
not
old, and he is right with
He's a-
us, and he is a hoot, Django.
Rubito.
Yes.
Okay, Steven. So we are at quarter past the hour, and
Yes.
so we do need to take a break. But today, if you're just joining us, if you're listening today, we are talking about rewriting the story that we tell about age. And the question that I want you to really think about is, are we afraid of getting older, or are we grieving the version of life that we thought we would have by now? Pond on that. We're going to take a small break and we will be right back. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. Happy Friday to all of you. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium. And today we are bringing to you what I think is a thought provoking conversation, rewriting the story we tell about age. And often when we think about aging, for some people, the anxiety begins when they hit a milestone like 40. For some others, maybe 50 or 60 or whatever the number is for you. At that point, the birthday often, what once was a celebratory suddenly becomes a deadline or a mirror, a reminder that time is moving. And with that number comes lots of questions for some of us. Have I accomplished enough? Am I where I thought I would be? Did I waste too much time? Is it too late to begin again? Or maybe it's a deeper issue, beyond aging. Maybe is it the gap between the life we imagine and the life that we actually living? Maybe it's what we're feeling is not simply fear. It's just the fear of getting older, that is. Maybe we're just grieving that version of life that we thought we would have by now. Sometimes, that maybe that career that we thought we would have, or the relationship, or, a level of success that we thought we had at this age and we don't, or that version of ourselves that we just thought that we would envision ourselves as, and it just didn't happen. So I'm really curious. I know. By the way, Stephen and I do not rehearse our show. We do not often check in with each other about subjects because part of our conversation, it's organic. It's a conversation that happens in real time because we even though we've been together for 33 years, going into 34.
You did good, especially if this is a theme on numbers. You did good.
Listen, I've been practicing. We both have our own very ways of thinking, and so this is an opportunity to really explore what our thoughts are around it. So when I talk about this and this subject, Stephen, why do you think there is, for many people, when they start hitting those numbers, right? The 30s, the 40s, the 50s, sometimes the 60s. Why does it cause or triggers anxiety or fear, or for many people, actually some level of depression? Why do you think that is?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I think you just sort of nailed it, what you said, Elix, as you started the intro for this subject. And, I did a quick video this week on Instagram about this, and I had a client email me who she comes to me a lot. Excuse me, and she told me that she's turning 50 in December, and that now we're in July, and that she's been depressed for already several months. So we're in July. She's not turning 50 till December, and even before July, we're talking April, May, June. She's already started getting very depressed, and she wanted advice, like I had the magic key maybe to give to her. And to answer your question, I think, and what I said in the video is that anytime you focus or apply like what you're thinking to something external, you are screwed. It's never going to be a good outcome, because really anything that's external is in some shape or form is a comparison. There's just a comparison. And I think that's what the age is when you see that I'm turning 50, and in this particular case, my client that asked me about it, and starts thinking, I think the first thing people think is, I'm behind. Like, I'm not where I want to be. And I'm never going to be able to catch up. Or you just mentioned about, like, how you're feeling and being, stressed out and having anxiety about where you are in life. And, in that one number, leads to comparisons to everything else. That, oh, my best friend is over there, they've already done that, or this one already did that, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And it's just that number is in society everywhere, and it is just a constant, a constant sort of idea in our heads that we're getting older and time is moving forward, and it takes us out of what's really important and what we should be thinking about via the present, and puts us in either the past or the future. Thus, that really is that place that you don't want to go to and don't want to be in, but that past and future piece really is external.
Yeah. Stephen, you actually said something that I think it's very, very meaningful, because when you think about the number, right, and the meaning that we give those numbers, I immediately think of, we live in a culture that attaches expectations to those numbers. By 30, we should have figured, ourselves out. By 40, we should be established. By 50, we should be completely secure. And by 60, we should be slowing down and heading into retirement. And I think those invisible timelines then become standards that we use to measure ourselves, our lives, and when that reality does not match that script, right, we often conclude that we're behind. But I think you highlighted something really important. Behind whom, right? And I think it's because we measure ourselves against other people. And then we create those very unrealistic expectations that lead to that unnecessary anxiety, because it's created based on a standard that really does not exist. Does that make sense, Stephen?
Of course it does. I think exactly. We're both saying the same thing, I think, in different ways. But how many times have you been in a conversation or heard a conversation, people talking, maybe you're part of the conversation, and someone saying, oh, did you hear about, like, say, a friend or someone they all know, they're in college, and you'll get some kind of response from someone else, say, like, maybe that hasn't been around their lives but know of them. Aren't they 30? Why are they in college? What were they doing before?
Yes.
Like it's like the number immediately pops out. It's not about good for them. Like, it's not about focus about how much it probably took for them to go back to school at 30, or like in just the strength and actually the courage and connecting with your soul and being authentic and knowing their passion and what their meaning is, most likely, or a possibility. But instead, I think it's very common and typical that 30. Well, what were they? Why are they so late? Like, what were they doing?
Yes.
And there's a negative connotation to it, all because of someone bringing up the age, the number. That was the whole thing. When I did my video, was all about this, this damn number.
Yeah. Well, I have two questions, Stephen. So, first of all, how do we change that? And what do you think happens when we stop asking, where should I be? Because that's where that comes from, those conditions, right, that are created by society. I should be here, not there. By 30, you should be doing X, Y, Z. And instead of asking, where should I be, what if we ask, what matters to me now?
I love that. I love the question. And, when your first question was about how do you stop thinking about the number? Well, I think part of it is what exactly you just did, is just stop thinking about the number. Replace it with something. Replace it, like in my video, I said, listen, the next time you're having a birthday and you're in that situation and have been in the past, connecting the number, which is so big, like most of us do, don't have a number on the cake. Don't have a banner that says, you go to, you're walking through any place, a restaurant, and there's a little private room with this gigantic banner, 60, 40, 50. You can't get away from it, right?
Yep.
Just stop doing that and just have a birthday celebration for who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. And I think when you start doing that, Elix, I think that is the way automatically it's a step in the right direction, that you're going to stop then following that path you used to and start really focusing on what's really important. Again, your accomplishments and where you are. And it really is just a matter of just stop thinking of it. If you think about, and it's going to happen. It pops into your head. Oh my God! What I'm going to be? How old? My next birthday? Just immediately, like, sort of pull out of that and go and stay in the present for a moment. Present meaning just look at something that's around you and just focus on it and look at the specifics or details of it. It puts you in the present, and then it takes you away from that external stuff of the number, which can only lead to a lot of negativity.
I I I so agree, and I think that that is something that requires, it's a moment to moment, right? Like we have to keep practicing because our humanness is always going to get in the way, right? Our humanness is always going to have us be comparing ourselves or even being critical of where we are at any given time. So it's not about not allowing for that, our humanness, to be part of who we are. Is about bringing some level of self-awareness so that you can make those corrections in real time. But the second part to that question, and we're about to take a second break, but I do want to think about that, Stephen. What changes? What really physically, mentally, emotionally actually changes when we stop asking, where should I be, versus, or stop asking, where should I be, and start asking what matters to me now? What matters most to me now? So let's ponder on that, Stephen, and we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we continue with this amazing conversation. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your amazing host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co-host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, Stephen F. Masek, and my amazing husband as well. And today we are diving into a conversation that I think it's relevant for all of us because at some point or another, we all perhaps have experienced some level of anxiety around this conversation. So we're talking about rewriting the story that we tell about age. And Stephen, before the break, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you about is what changes physically, emotionally, mentally when we stop asking, where should I be, at this age, whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever that is, and begin asking, what is it that matters most to me right now? What do you think changes?
Well, one thing that I know absolutely changes is that in that process, you start getting and putting yourself into a higher vibration. So in the spirit world, there's I can't think of who did this, but there's a number chart starting from, let's say, 0 to 1,000. I may be off on it. I haven't looked at it in a long time. And from the top number is where you would find the highest vibration, and the lowest number is obviously the lowest vibration. And anxiety, stress, all the stuff that you're going to feel when you focus, as I just mentioned minutes ago with my client asking me, what can I do? I'm so depressed. I'm stressing out. I'm going to turn 50 in December. All of what comes, the emotions that come with that of course affect physically in your mind and spiritually, all of that, right? She's going to end up, or she will be, on low numbers and be in a low vibration. Really what that means is if you're walking around in a low vibration status, everything else is going to be a low vibration status, because everything that we externally see comes from internally what's going on. That's your vibration, right? The vibration, you can't touch vibration. It's internal. It's your energy. It's your auras. It's everything that's within you. So if you have a low vibration, then everything you're looking at is going to be a low vibration. So you just, the world is going to feel that way, anxiety and stress ridden. And if there is one person in the entire state where you live that is going to just bump a car, maybe do a little dent in it, when you're in that low vibration, I guarantee you it's going to be you. You're going to find that one person and you're going to be attracted to that spot so that the person bumps your car in that particular spot. Versus the other side of it, those high numbers, the high vibration, is where you are, as you mentioned, Elix, like when you asked that question about, not asking about or thinking about where I should be, but really about like what do I want? I forget exactly how you said it. That brings you to that higher vibration of really feeling like I'm looking in to why I'm here. I'm looking into my meaning. I don't care anymore externally. I don't care about what other people are doing. I don't want a comparison. I want right now where I'm at, to focus on that and to know where I'm going with the sort of like thoughts of the accomplishments I've made in up until this point and moving forward. When you're in that place, because it's such a cool, great place, right? Because you're starting to think of like, what is your muse? Like, what do you love? All that kind of stuff. You're in that really high number, high frequency level, and that means everything else that you look out on, you're going to see the same kind of high frequency. So mentally, physically, emotionally, Elix, just changing that changes every single thing, every part of your life.
And I can tell you, I can attest to that, because when I how how I would answer the question is exactly by doing what you said. I have been paying close attention to letting go of my need to be attached to anything, and just being fully present to what it is that drives my commitment to what I do, what it is that drives my purpose. And when I focus on that, Stephen, the question of where should I be is no longer relevant. Like, I don't know that I've asked my question I used to ask myself that question, and in fact I asked for a very long time. Oh my God, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Did I accomplish enough by this age? And I let go of all of that. And then I started really being present to what it is that matters most to me right now. And suddenly life started showing up exactly that way. It's almost like I focused on what matters most, and I started manifesting that life was gifting me what matters most to me. And that's what I do, and it's interesting, Steven, because I work out with a lot of people who are definitely much younger than I am, and I hear that conversation in the background all the time. Oh my God, I'm old. And I thought to myself, well, if you keep telling yourself that story, you're gonna keep showing up old, So I've learned to reframe. I've learned to, because I know, Stephen, and a lot of this comes from what I've learned from you and what you've taught me about spirit is, listen, our words create our reality, right? Whatever it is that we speak is what the universe give right back to us.
You know what, Elix, what you just explained in that commentary is to put this in a subject of what I was just talking about, the vibration, like frequency chart. You just went from sitting in a place at the beginning of the conversation in shame and guilt, which would be like low numbers, to switching it to a place of like enlightenment or peace, which would be 700-800 on that chart. Now, just think of that. Think of walking around on a daily basis with grief or guilt or shame or fear, and then the next day, or somebody else leaving the same doorway and walking out with like peace and joy and love, reason, enlightenment, acceptance, all of that. Who's going to have the better day, right? And one of the things that I will say quickly is just imagine, put yourself in this place, guy or a girl, and I'm sure you probably have heard this or can feel the experience. Imagine, let's just take a woman. Imagine that she goes for her annual mammogram, and the doctor says there's spots, and they have to do biopsy. They're not sure if it's cancer or not. It could be something else. It could be something very benign, but it also could be something malignant. And then the person then has to go for that biopsy. And of course, this doesn't happen the same day. There's days or weeks, whatever period of time that they're living in that place, right? They're living with the fear, which is going to be a low frequency. Most people, and I'm not saying everybody, but most people are going to be very nervous and very afraid. Oh my God, what if it comes back, it's cancer and it's malignant? I have breast cancer. Then they go back whenever period of time when the tests are all done, and it comes out that it's fat deposits. It's nothing. It's benign. It is not cancer. So then they fly up to leaving that office in peace and joy and enlightenment. Thank God, love, my family. I'm going to be with them. All of this. I guarantee you, when they're walking out to their car, they're looking up at a tree that when they came in to the office didn't even know existed, and just look at the bird there, like look how beautiful that bird is. It's a whole different perspective, and that is the whole point of frequency. All, as you mentioned, Elix, all you need to do is to change those thoughts, and any one of us can go into a high frequency where we should. We're supposed to be aiming for an ultimate consciousness. That's the highest frequency. That's why we're here. So,
yeah, and by the way, what I share at the beginning is also letting listeners, that you still have to give yourself grace for your own humanity. This conversation is never intended for you to, now you know something and you're going to show up as a perfect human being. No, we're human and we err. And so, yeah, I am aware that when I'm getting to traffic, I get myself all in a tizzy about something that I shouldn't get myself in a tizzy. So I am aware I need to correct, I need to self correct, and I know how to do to self correct. That is, I think that's the point that you highlighted. I know, and then I have a choice. And by the way, the other thing I wanted to say, Stephen, is if you are wondering when Stephen was talking, how is that so? I can promise you, this is a very simple way to validate that. You wake up in the morning and say to yourself, oh my God, today it's going to be a terrible day. And then let me know how that day works out for you. Because I guarantee you, the moment you speak, it's going to be a terrible day, is going to show up as a terrible day.
And it's sneaky too, because it doesn't mean you have to say that. It could mean like in you, somewhere in your subconscious, as you're waking up, you're thinking, "Oh yeah, things aren't going to change at work. It's going to be the same thing." And without even saying it's going to be sort of a terrible day. But you know what I love? What you just said, Elix, about giving yourself grace. I think when you get into a place of changing from the lower levels of like a low frequency to a higher frequency, I think you have to then really know and accept and be good with giving yourself grace. I think you need even more grace than you ever did, because when you get to those places, like you just said, you're gonna fall, and when you fall, it's gonna hurt so much more because you're now more aware of the difference of the frequencies, and you're gonna, boy, are you gonna need more and more grace and forgiveness for yourself. And a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people just, they really I'm a perfect example of just coming hard down on myself. Of I cannot believe it, like what a dummy I am. I've been going, I'm doing so well, and I know like what I want to do, and I tripped and fell. Why? I'm clearly not doing what I should be doing. So that grace is the most important when you are getting to such a better place.
Beautiful. And you know how we're going to get into a better place right now?
You're gonna
We
buy
got to
me
take,
something?
well,
No.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's your idea of a better place always. But no, let's take a commercial break, and we'll come back to this amazing conversation. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix. And with me, my amazing co host,
Attorney Masick.
Stephen the Medium, also known as Stephen the Medium, is in the house with me. And today we're talking about rewriting the story we tell about age. And so far, we've had an amazing conversation. By the way, Stephen, I want to do a shout out to John Sayeda, who is on the live stream, and Christine Numet, who's also on the live stream. And what John just made a comment. Great discussion. One of my favorite phrases is, "It's not what you've done; it's what you are doing now." Always reminds me not to dwell on past mistakes, but to live in the moment and focus on what matters and how I can be of service to my people right now. Pretty awesome.
That's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. And Stephen, I want to talk, we're at the last segment of our show. And of course, as always, we just, this time goes by so fast. But I want to talk about, something that I think is important. It's the cost of believing, that belief that sometimes we hold on to, that it is too late, because once we begin believing that time is running out, I believe something that creates an opening for something really dangerous. You stop dreaming, you stop experimenting, you stop taking risk, not because, we're incapable, but because we decided the opportunity passed. And we tell ourselves sometimes we're too old to change careers, we're too old to fall in love again, we're too old to learn something new, or too old to start something new. How could we change that belief and that conversation, Stephen?
Well, it's interesting because everything you just said is really when that happens is when you're focusing on something external, right? Again, it's that age where I am, and then everything else trickles down. That is a place you don't want to be, or a place that you don't want to go. I think it's one thing. And listen, me as a medium, and I do readings. 6 days a week? I think I do readings. It's constant from people I'm speaking to that are dead that say exactly what this whole conversation's about, that their one regret
Yes.
is that they did attach themselves in the physical world to something external, and that it just put them in a downward spiral that they never got out of. That doesn't mean that their lives were horrible, but it does mean that they weren't reaching towards, sort of like what John just said, they weren't remembering that, and they weren't reaching towards their meaning and their goal and whatnot. But one great thing to always remember, which I think is sort of a good way to sort of start this journey, is just to know that we remember that we're made up of two pieces, I always say. So we're made up of the soul, and then we're made up of the personality. So the personality is what you see when you look at your husband, wife, mother, dog. What physically you're seeing is the personality. That's the personality. That is a representation of what the person's life was all about. Whether they, in a good place, bad place, but it represents everything in the physical world. And then the other part is your soul. Your soul, who, just imagine, is just this beautiful place that's internal, and that's the key, right? That's the magic internally. But the soul, when someone like my client reaches out and says she's been depressed for months now, and because she's turning 50 in December, her soul is looking at her like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? That has nothing to do with why we're here. Like your personality is driving this. That's the ego and all of that, and the insecurities. That's not me. And if you only would listen to me, we would be in such a great place and a different place. So just remember that, because when we check out and we have our final song before we cross over, that personality is dead. You're not getting that back. Your soul, No, no. I mean, it lives
Stays.
forever, right?
Yes.
It's eternal, and that knows, your soul knows why we're supposed to be here. So if you sort of just start pulling back and start questioning, like, why you're thinking the way you are when it's not in a positive way, you that one step is pulling you closer to your soul.
Yeah. And from a coaching perspective, Stephen, you talked about what you hear from, the people who have crossed from spirit. From a coaching perspective, what I hear from many of my clients is this question: what if I do that thing? What if I take that chance or I take that risk and it doesn't work out? And my response to that is, so it doesn't work out. But the truth is, if you don't do anything, if you do not take that chance, it's never going to work out. That is, it's an absolute. That is, it's an unwinnable game. But if you take the chance, if you do something that you've always wanted to do, yeah, well, I don't know, it may or may not work out, but you actually have an opportunity that it may work out because you're actually stepping into something, into action versus doing nothing about it. So my invitation to you is, whatever it is that you're sitting with, and you haven't done it because whatever the reason or the justification or the excuse or the validation that you have given yourself, just remember, in order to win, let's talk about baseball. Not that I'm a baseball player, but I understand a little bit about baseball. The only way that you can score in the game of baseball is you got to get in the field and you got to swing the bat. Now, getting in the field and swinging the bat does not guarantee a win. You could hit a home run and get to first base, second, third. Maybe you hit a home run and you get a run. I mean, you hit the ball and you get a home run, or you strike out. Those are all possibilities. Maybe you even get a grand slam. Those are all possibilities. That's part of the game. However, if you sit on the sidelines and you do nothing because you're feeding that self-limiting belief, I'm too old, it's to this, it's to that, or whatever that is for you, you're sitting in the sidelines. You have absolutely no chance whatsoever at winning the game, because our game can never, ever be won if you're sitting on the sidelines. And that's what I want to leave you with. What are your thoughts, Stephen?
I mean, I love it. It's a beautiful thought, and it's a beautiful thing to keep in your brain. I was just thinking, listening to you, one thing that I do, which I think maybe potentially some people will do this, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are. I purchased via, I don't know if it was Amazon or I don't remember where I found it, but and you know what I'm talking about, Elix. I purchased an hourglass with sand, and I originally purchased it because when I started doing readings, I was very bad with time. Even though I had a clock in front of me, when I started a reading, which is an hour, I would flip the hourglass, and it was an actual hour. In a big one, right? Now, little ones can be like 15 minutes or so, but a big one that was an hour. And then I would know, like, when I was almost done, and I could start closing up and anything that the spirit wanted me to say or so. But what I realized is that, to sort of reboot you or recharge you, I've done this, is that when I'm in my office, I will just, when no one's with me, I'll just flip it and just stare. And that's also going to put you in the present, which is beautiful. I'll stare at this pink sand falling into the other side of the glass and just think, all right, if this is the end of my life right now, when that last grain of salt hits the other side, it's done. Am I happy? Is there something else I want to get accomplished? Am I focusing on things that are not benefiting me? And doing that with the sort of like, for me, I'm very analytical, so looking at things really helps me. But looking at that and it forces you to be in the present. It is a really, really good way to reboot yourself or recharge yourself.
I absolutely love that, Stephen. Absolutely love that. And that's a reminder that time is only a concept that is valid here. It is not valid in spirit. There's no time in spirit, right? There's no age in spirit. So
No.
time is only a concept that we give value and power to right here on Earth.
Yes. Yes.
So listen, it's the top of the hour, and as we close today's conversation, I just want to leave all of you who are listening with this. We spend so much time fearing that getting older, that we can forget the privilege of having more life to live. Every birthday is not simply a number, it is evidence that you are still here, that you're still learning, that you're still capable of changing direction, still able to love, to create, to begin, to contribute to become whatever it is you think you want or can become. So maybe the real question is not how old am I? Maybe it is how honestly am I living? And maybe, just maybe, the sadness we sometimes feel around age is not asking us to give up. Maybe it is asking us to grieve what did not happen, to release the timeline we inherited, and to choose more intentionally from this moment forward, because this moment forward, the now, is the only thing that we have. Yesterday's done, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So now it's the only thing that we have. So, Stephen, that said, I do want to give a shout out to Mark Clark, our producer, who is still in the hospital, but he got a release day. So July 16th, he is going to be coming out and heading home. So we're
Yay.
wishing Mark, hopefully you're listening, Mark. We're wishing you lots of love and a very speedy recovery, so that you can get back to business here. And Stephen, anything else? How can people find you? Anything else that we need to that I've forgotten for today?
Well, besides the wonderful guy that's producing our show and the guys in the station, which we love.
We do love.
You can just find me at Stephen the Medium, StephenTheMedium.com, my website. You can go on there, see what my services are offering, and book something, or on social media, Stephen the Medium.
Beautiful. And you can find me at Coach Elex. If you're not following, you need to follow, because we put a lot of awesome, both Stephen and I, put a lot of awesome inspirational content on our social medias. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and we will be right back next week, next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.